This is episode 62 of the Download Queue. Tuning in, listening in on Sunday, March 30th, 2025, a few short days away from the grand reveal of the Switch 2, which we'll get to later. We have some other stuff to get to this week. We've been playing some games. For those of you who aren't aware, that intro at the beginning of this episode, hella smooth. Proud of it. Kyle, how are you doing over on the right side of my screen?
I'm doing good. Was just messing around in Age of Mythology because I had 40 minutes before this. That's what I was doing. I don't love RTS games, but otherwise, good week. Went to parks this weekend with the daughter. That's been fun, but excited to talk about some games.
Good. It's a good time to talk about games. It's a good time to talk about games that sometimes don't hit. Some that do, but everyone's got their own opinions. We'll figure ours out here in a couple minutes. As mentioned, this is the Download Queue, your new favorite source of discussion, gaming news, gaming fun, whatever it be, each and every Sunday right here at twitch.tv/BadlandsBacklogs. You can join us here on YouTube, join in the conversation, give us your comments. They'll appear on the side here, maybe. We'll read them out on live as we're going through. This week, as mentioned, we got Nintendo Switch 2 predictions, discussions, final sort of wrap-up before the big day happens. Bright and early, 6 a.m. Kyle time on Wednesday. Why?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Is it 6 a.m. for you?
Is it? I've had 7 for me. Is it 7 Pacific?
Okay. I just didn't know where. Hey, I like the shirt. I like that one a lot. Yeah, I'm not getting up for it. You're up? You're at work at that time? Are you gonna?
So I'm supposed to
everything
be
to watch it.
I'm supposed to be at work. I have given them the heads up. I will be in fashionably late on Wednesday for other priorities. So I'll be live streaming it. I'll be awake. I'm gonna go get a coffee, maybe a couple donuts down the street, and I'll be here live on the Twitch to live react. Hopefully be excited. When we talk about it later, I have some worries about how this presentation is actually going to go / what it actually is. So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I will wake up when I need to take care of my daughter. And that's when I will open up the YouTube and then begin to watch. So as I'm making breakfast and she's eating, I'll just watch it then. That's what I will do. I will not be waking up too much early because at this point I know what it is. I get it. There's going to be a surprise or two and they're going to be able to show off the online stuff, but it's just a Switch, baby. It's just a Switch 2.
Just a Switch 2 that I'm going to be pre-ordering that day one because I'm a sucker and I fall for the hype.
Oh, go for it. Yeah, no, if I was in a position where I was like before having a kid, I would 100% already be ready to pre-order this. But now I'm like, I'm good. I'm looking at my Switch and my PlayStation 5 that just really gathers dust and becomes something to play when I'm incredibly bored or Game Pass hasn't dropped something I want to play yet. So I'm good without another Switch, and we'll get more into that later. But yeah.
As we wait for new stuff to come our way, we wrap up some olds. This week, we wrapped up finally our playthrough / stream for Split Fiction over on Kyle's channel. We had some technical difficulties. It's still there on video, though. Go check it out. It's good time.
Recording stuff is hard. Running sound is hard. And when you don't slow down and make sure everything's set, you have issues. So that's what I ran into. So there's no YouTube VOD, even though I recorded all but the last one. One of them had no audio from our partner here, and I was just talking to myself the whole time, maybe making jokes, maybe laughing, but really it's just some guy responding to something that you can't hear as an audience. So yeah, it's fun learning the stuff and remembering how to make sure that doesn't happen, but that's okay.
It does. We've had our fair share of issues over here. But
we still played it, at least. You said that yesterday. I was like, that is true. Screw the content. We still played it.
Played through, did our co-op thing, and had a good time. I think overall I fell probably shorter, lower on overall enjoyment than you did. But we'll get into it. As you should know, Split Fiction, obviously the 4th game from Hazelight. The co-op masters, per se, kind of reinvigorating and breathing a new breath of life into what couch co-op and even online co-op is. This we mentioned last week is pretty basic story. Two writers go to essentially a business to be published. They get to experience their own ideas in real time, a la AR, VR, whatever it may be, technology, and you're having a bunch of good adventures jumping back and forth between fantasy and sci-fi settings. A very short experience. I think we ended off, I think it was like 13 hours, 13 and a half ish, if I believe right. So that's about what you're looking at here for the price tag. And yeah, as I mentioned, I think I'm probably lower on this than you are overall as an experience, and I think that's due to a couple things. Um, Going to mostly try to avoid spoilers here for the most part, but as far as our playthrough goes, and we joked about this a couple times, quite a bit towards the end, where the character I chose, I felt like I was getting the short end of the stick on a lot of either abilities or what was given to me as far as gameplay mechanics go. A lot of it felt more tailored towards your character, and mine was just kind of a way to help you do cool stuff. And the last chapter really fixed a lot of that for me. Um, Really broke that down more in a way where I was having equal amount of fun and impact. And I said that it was set up differently where the first 75% of the game, our powers or abilities we were given were kind of like you're solely here to help the other person. Whereas the last section of it, it was you can't really do anything without the other person's abilities, and you were relying on each other a lot more, which I thought felt a lot more natural, a lot more rewarding to play through as far as puzzles and stuff go. But story we mentioned last week, I could really care less for. I think that's probably the biggest hit on it for me because coming off of It Takes Two being such an emotional dump and grabbing me so much more on the emotional front and kind of what I was expecting Hazelight to produce. A lot of this felt kind of teenage movie-ish and very top level on almost all fronts, even when they were trying to make an emotional connection or highlight a major topic that has impact on story. Um, right now, if on our review thing, I need to put my post on Twitter still, but I think I'm probably sitting at like a 3 out of 5, switching to the 5 point scale, which it sucks coming off of It Takes Two, which for me would have been a 5 out of 5 to drop down that much, but experimentation happens, especially with different gameplay styles like this and the way they do games. Not all of it's gonna hit 100% of the time, but when it does, it is rock solid, which is in full blast on this last level of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting. There were a lot of I think going kind of jumping off where you were talking about the difference in abilities, and that really felt like a decision based on who the characters were, right? Mio, the character I played, definitely more aggressive, more out there. Makes sense that her abilities and such lean more to being active, doing action and such, right? And where, yeah, sure, Zoe would fit that other model of being a little more reserved, but I think again that's not fully what it is. But I see how that to different to
Differentiate.
change up the gameplay between the two different characters. I understand how they get there, but I think it was like 3 levels right before really the powers got balanced. There were like 3 levels in a row where you were like only having one trigger to do something, and I had at least 2 powers. And not that they were crazy or anything; they were pretty straightforward. But even Mio having one level having a drone suit and you a helicopter, or a parachute to take the wind up. You're a boat to go in water. So like even having that difference in what you could do just magnetize like it was interesting, right? So I get that. I played Mio, and I haven't played It Takes Two all the way through. So for me, this is one of the first this is the first Haze like game I've rolled credits on, actually. That's funny. So I truly love this experience. It was a great time with you. I think we did ourselves a huge service, being both gamers. I remember It Takes Two being a lot more like time induced. Like it took more time getting through it playing with my girlfriend at the time, now wife. She didn't grow up playing games like I did, right? She mostly watched. So us knowing the language made it made it way easier and just kind of run through levels. It just made the game fun. We did 6 sessions, about 2 hours each, a little under for some. And it was just our experience playing it was great. Online, you played on Steam as well. I'm on Xbox, the Friends Pass, like all that stuff worked flawlessly, except the very first one where you tried to stream, we had some issues. With rubber banding and lagging and such. But after that, unfortunately, you couldn't stream it. But after that, hardly any issues with that. So I don't know. I truly loved my time with the game. With that, it would be up as an 8 or a 9 for me because it's once again a studio just having fun and doing something exceptionally well. A 2-player couch co-op game. Guess what? The age of online works well. The Friends Pass is amazing with how that works. They're just doing great things, and yeah, loved it. But I'll stop so we can get into more granular stuff if we want to.
Granular stuff? What do you mean, Kev?
Oh, I don't know. I was just doing like overall real quick.
No, yeah.
I guess that wasn't quick though.
No, you're fine. Yeah, that covers most of pretty much everything. It's like I said, the last, if anything, if you start this and the stories will grab you, whatever, push through. Um, the last 2-ish hours, about more so the last hour, is enough of a reward for the whole experience. I feel, um, for being a co-op thing like this. If you're familiar with their games, what they were able to really pull off technically, and it's something we talked about the entire time, just nonstop, because it goes so off the wall, sort of fourth wall breaking ways that w- in context makes sense, but was so unexpected at the time that it's like that's the type of joy and wonder I wanted the whole experience, which I
Mm-hmm.
feel with how fast you're going through different gameplay mechanics in the main story. Um, that a lot of that didn't have time to feel fleshed out to me. Right when puzzles either got like, "Oh, this is starting to feel challenging," it was, "Okay, done with that, now here's the next new thing." I'm like, I would've liked a little more lead up, a little more sort of using your brain to solve puzzles or whatever we're doing.
Yeah,
Be Go ahead.
I get that. I think one of the main gripes, I didn't, not main gripes, hold on. I heard a lot of complaints and people and reviews of It Takes Two being like, it overstayed its welcome. And I definitely could see that happening with this. But to me, like, they struck that incredibly well. Like, I didn't think like, I felt like there was no section that was too long, right? Even though you were kind of giving us tidbits on where we're at in the game, and the longest section at one point, I was like, that's not bad at all. So again, for me, it's like how you play this game and how long you have to stay playing it with each chapter and each section. Like that definitely makes the game fun or not. And for me, this hit a really good balance of not even with us doing all the side stuff, like side stories and whatnot, those didn't elongate the levels to make them feel like a drag. It didn't slow things down where I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna skip these. Like it had a great pace throughout for me. I didn't talk about the story. The story, yeah, it's just straightforward, right? It's just a surface level, and it does get deep at the end. It does get there, but at the beginning, you are like Mia or Zoe. You just are two people who don't know each other, right? And just like us, the audience, we don't know them. So it was slow at the beginning, but I think it's worth. The story is good. I by the end of it, it's a good story. I see why people want to shop it, or they're shopping it around for studios to make some TV or movie properties. It makes sense with what they're doing and where they go. Final stuff in the last level is so amazing. What they're doing technically, I really want to know. With my limited knowledge of game design, I think it's just, I don't want to spoil what that last level is if people haven't played it, because it's fun to go in blind and just be like a huge smile on your face, like what is going on, and just kind of not able to understand visually what's going on too. It's just a joy. It's an absolute joy. I don't know what else you would want from a game than to just this, right? A fun game. It's for families. That's also probably why the story is pretty straightforward too. This is something that eventually I can't wait to play with my daughter. These type of games, like, can't she holds the controller now and doesn't really do much. She's not like playing a game, but uh, that day's coming, and more games that are difficult. I can't like this. These later levels do get hard, but I could, yeah. This is a game that is meant to be played by not just adults who are min maxing and trying to get the fastest score. It's like, no, some stuff is simple, some stuff is straightforward because it is a family friendly game designed to just have a good time playing the game, right? The story is the story, but it's fun being on that split screen, looking over, seeing what you're doing and how, oh, I see what I have to do on your screen. It's a joy. Love it.
Yeah, I'm curious what more so what the movie slash series turns out to be for this now that we finished it. Because
Yeah.
now going through everything, like that sounds like an absolute project and having to switch so many settings and set pieces and just
Yeah.
thematical scenes you have to do. Like that sounds like a nightmare on the back end to try and
Yeah.
produce. But
Yeah, I mean, hey, I brought it up last week. I think WandaVision, they jumped genres and such and found success. And when WandaVision moved away from that, is where the show kind of, all right, it's an MCU show. So it makes a ton of sense for me. Obviously, you're right. It's something that has to be well produced, and if they don't go all the way, it's like, all right, whatever. That's fine. It's split fiction, but yeah, if they commit to it, and we're going instead of it being just video games, it's jumping into TV genres, movies, eras, and include video games adaptations and all that. It could be really, really cool. So hopefully, a proper studio that can invest into it, they'll do that. But seeing like shows like Fallout and the trend of video games being adapted more successfully, yeah, I can imagine an Apple TV or an Amazon will get that license at some point. But fun stuff.
yeah, definitely a solid way to start the year off, I would say. Do you think when we get to the end of the year, do you think this makes it through game of the year discussion at all, or just kind of side stuff, side awards?
No, I mean, depending on the rest of the year and games like Doom, Fable, if those hit, a Call of Duty, or a Call of Duty wouldn't be game of the year type stuff, but um, if those things hit and the other stuff we just don't know about, Nintendo stuff, I can see it not being the winner, or it is game of the year because votes get split, and this is just one of those games that almost is universally just loved, and it may not be for you, you may not love it, but I think you can look at it and say what they're doing is impressive, and I think that will carry weight into award season. I mean, it's almost a perfect game, right? They've almost perfected their formula of doing a split screen couch co-op game. I'm intrigued to where they go next, but to go back, I think it will be an game award conversations by the end of the year.
I'd be curious because yeah,
Especially
like
for us, I think it'll be in mine.
I if it does for me, I would say very high on the list or low on the list, like 10, 9,
Yeah,
8 around there. But depends how the rest of the year goes, like you said, because
there's a lot.
there's a lot and a lot that I tend to get excited for, talk myself into, and don't really end up enjoying the whole time, which is what I did with the
Ooh,
next title that I played this week. Assassin's Creed Shadows jumped into
the too
uh
woke for you?
too woke, too many LGBT let alphabets in there. Black guy main character can't have that. Um no, this is my first Assassin's Creed that I dove into with the pure intention of I want to mainline this. I want to beat the story. I want to actually beat this. I picked up Valhalla because it came out around Series X shortly after, whatever year after. I was like, I want a graphical thing to look at. I put probably half hour into Valhalla and never came back. I was like, I'm good. But the last one I did was Syndicate, I think was the one set in London back in then. So it's been a while. It has
Yes.
been a long journey that the series has gone through, a lot of ups and downs, and this, for the most part, according to the internet, was a high up. This seemingly is doing, I mean, arguably better on PC as far as sales go. Reception is really good. Kind of what Ubisoft needed. So I got in the hype. Let me get in on this. And it's it's been a roller coaster journey so far. Starting up, you are immediately met with about 2+ hours of cutscenes with gameplay segments in between where you're just following a person from point A to point B very slowly. And then you get another 20 minutes of cutscenes to a point that this literally took me 2 different play sessions to get through before I actually like was given open world to go explore and go start doing stuff. And maybe I'm just small brain, or I'm so far off how Ubisoft has started doing their open worlds. I feel like I am lost in almost every sense of the word. There's very little to go off of as far as, hey, here's the next mission you should be doing for your level. There's no level scaling. It tells you hard off, like this section's for level 30 plus, this section's for level 10 plus. So you have your general area to stick in, but I have been being brick walled so much with almost every side event I've tried doing, every side quest I've tried doing, every main mission I've tried doing, where I'm getting at most about 5 minutes of progress at a time before I die and have to restart those 5 minutes. And it has just been the most grueling, difficult task to do, attempt to even have fun with it that I'm almost ready to put it down already, which sucks.
Wow.
Yeah. Because
Huh.
it's beautiful, like gorgeous game. You start it up, you get the scenery, you go to the synchronization points, whatever. Like the
Yeah.
scenery and everything is top notch, gorgeous. It's just the actual playing through the motions and trying to, one, understand the combat still. It is very parry heavy, where you're just waiting to parry attacks, dodge attacks, counters, which sounds good until you're thrown into 5 enemies at once and you're just getting dogged on. I've yet to get to where I'm able to I think you can freely swap between the two characters. I've been pretty much stuck on Naue, the female protagonist.
And I have heard on reviews that that's a big chunk of time, like 10 plus hours until
Damn.
you get to play as the other character, which is yeah, obviously a lot of people have been like griping on that. So that's, yeah, you have a ways apparently till you get to play as him more
Which
freely.
I wish it was sooner. I want to know how their stories interact if they do it all, because right now hers is very much pretty top level story of revenge, losing someone close to her, going out to revenge. But the I can't even think of the last game I said this about. Her voice actor has to be one of the worst casting decisions I have had as far as the English VO goes in a game that has thrown me so entirely off. Every
Interesting.
every time she talks, I wish I had recordings of it, but you could be having like super intense conversation with the main character, obviously, and as soon as she talks, it feels like she recorded it on her phone in like the side room trying to be a part of the conversation. The emotional pull of it isn't there. It feels very one note. Oh yes, I am excited to do this for you. Stop.
Hmm.
Oh yes, I am out to go find so and so and I will be back in just one moment. Stop. And it's gotten to a point where I'm almost skipping over her lines and reading them ahead of time and skipping to hear the next person, because it's just been such a stark contrast. And like I said, I can't remember the last game I've had this issue with, which again, AAA studio, countless people working on this. You think they would, someone would have caught this, been like, hey, we needed to redo some lines or something. But
Yeah. I wonder if some of that though was redone, you know, or if it's, yeah, that's something, I mean, I haven't heard it, so I don't want to, yeah, do too much on that, but it's very interesting.
yeah, it's been a journey. I'm like I said, I'm almost at the point I'm ready to put it down already. Uh which it sucks because like I want to see the rest of the world. I've been in the first zone still. I want to see the rest of it, see what the different scenery looks like. The side quests are done really well where instead of just baseline collectibles of marking stuff off a checklist, it'll be like, hey, here's a shrine to pray at. You do that. It's like a little QTE mini game that goes around, and then it teleports you back a couple years and gives you like a whole side story to play through from their previous past or whatever major events happened in their life before, and to get character building around that's really neat. And then and then when you're done, it pulls you back to the shrine, and she's like, I've had time to think about my decisions here. Let's go out to continue the main mission. Like all the side stuff's done really well. Base building, I haven't had a lot of time to dig into yet. It is a lot more open as far as how it was in Valhalla, where when you go to your base, it is set up in kind of a grid style system where you have a bird's eye view of the whole area, drag and drop buildings wherever you want, freely build paths to them. Which where Valhalla it was, hey, here's predetermined areas you can put a building at, switch out what you want it to be here. This you have a lot more freedom to do. There's a lot more cosmetics to do, so I'm excited to see in the future how people do that. I'm sure people have wild off the wall stuff that they weren't planning on having as far as the little home base goes. But it's been rough being at that crossroad already of
Yeah.
do I put more time into it before south of midnight in a week and a half? Do I put more time into it before all these other games come out, or just stick to what I've been doing the past couple weeks, which has been playing comfort games or mindlessly staring at Balatro like a degen?
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, man, that's it's so interesting. I the last Assassin's Creed game I played was Valhalla, and I did not beat it. But before that, I've beaten every Assassin's Creed game that wasn't locked to a Sony platform. Um, Liberation, being a PSP game or whatever it was on. I didn't play that one.
Oh
Anyway,
yeah.
I just the RPG games I fell off of hard. I fell off hard of. I just didn't. I don't want that in an Assassin's Creed. I remember beating Assassin's Creed Brotherhood whenever the ending of the Desmond stuff happened, and I was distraught. I was just so ready to get that culmination. I remember what I felt in that moment watching the cutscene, being like, "What the heck? 2012? Like the world's ending. Desmond's going to change it. And like, what is going on?" And then they just really have moved away from the modern day stuff and landed on this where it's the fantasy of playing in any era and being an assassin or a warrior. I'm like, that's cool, but I liked the stuff going on of like, why am the character I'm playing going back? Well, the company is trying to get the history to find these pieces of Eden. Like, that's fascinating. You got taken because you're secretly an assassin. Like, that was interesting and discovering your past that way. This like Assassin's Creed Black Flag, when you went into the Animus, or when you're like an employee and they're selling these games, like that was interesting. What's the bigger picture though? It just doesn't matter. And then the RPG ones, like it just doesn't matter. And that sucks because that was one of the reasons that kept me going. Where are they going next? How's the modern day going to tie in? And now it's just how big do we make it? How much RPG can we do? And I just do not like that style of Assassin's Creed game. It's why I fell off of Valhalla. And it sounds like that's mostly what Shadows is. I bet by the end it's a dope story. I bet the characters are fleshed out. I bet it's awesome, especially based off reviews I read. It sounds like for people it got there in a lot of ways, but I have no interest in playing a big open world epic Ubisoft game like this. I'll just go back to Odyssey. I'll go back to Origins, I'll finish Valhalla because the same thing happens stonewalled in that because I'm like, I like raiding the beaches in this, but all the forts I can raid are level 20 above me now and I'm just stuck. I don't know what to do. So sounds like it's the same game in a lot of ways, unfortunately, for what I was looking for.
Yeah, which sucks is that was part of the reason I got in on it was as you mentioned Valhalla just being so incredibly bloated. I have seen a lot more positivity on that front with this where people feels like it respects your time more. It feels like it's worth going through the journey. It's just the gameplay loop is not hitting to me, and I don't know what it is. I wish I could be exactly like this is it. this is what I want changed or would need change to fully enjoy it, but it's I mean, it's on me, obviously jumping into this on a whim. Wasn't super I was interested with the media going in. Obviously, the Japan setting's the one everyone wanted for years, and now we finally got it. And you're either having a great time or you're on the side we don't talk about or need to give light to. But I'm I'm curious on Assassin's Creed still because we got what's the next one? Hex, whatever the which one is that like again, that's a cool setting that I sound super interested in. But when we're gonna get there, is it just gonna be a reskin of this again? Which the way Ubisoft is going, it seems more and more likely, sadly.
Yeah, it's just again the theme, the setting, not the theme and setting, the I don't know, the main drive of Assassin's Creed from I just think they lost that and they took it somewhere that I'm not interested in. I'm more interested in the historical context and like messing with that and like having this modern day mystery and like why have we not gotten a modern day Assassin's Creed game that culminates some storyline? It's like that's awesome. No, no. And it's just a
Which,
cash cow, honestly. That's all it is. So
yeah,
we're gonna keep doing it. I mean, it's selling well too. Like it has sold well. People like this style of game, especially like I'm buying this $70 game and I am set until the next NBA 2K comes out. I am set till GTA, right? I am set for a good chunk of time because I'm going to lose myself in this. Like, I get that that's a lot of people out there, but yeah, it's just not what I want out of these games.
well, for context, I pulled all my hours. I'm 7.5 hours about so far. Again, two of that is literally cutscenes. To your point on the anime stuff, I have not had one single instance of that even being mentioned so far. Uh,
That is insane to me. Like the whole premise of Assassin's Creed is that you're using an animus to go back. At this point, just it's like they're not using their IP for what it is,
yeah,
right? They're just losing that. And yeah, you get a lot of casual people who are down for a big RPG that they didn't like that shit, but guess what? Blow their minds and make them care about it at the end of it. Whatever. Someone buy Ubisoft already and not be Tencent, but it already is.
it already is. 10 cents everywhere.
Was
Um,
Assassin's Creed a part of those games? Sorry, I know it's not what we're
I
actually talking
believe
about. I'll
so.
look it
It
up.
was like the big
Yeah, I thought
three.
so.
Uh, I'm curious too with that happening. This is the first one. I don't think Valhalla had it, but this one in the main menu when you start does kind of have the building blocks for oh
Oh,
the assassin.
Infinity,
Is that like the one that like connects all of them,
Infinite. Yeah,
like a
there's like
hub
the
thing?
app game that was supposed to be a hub for it all, which again could be cool, but I don't think they know how to do a modern day storyline with this, so it's dumb.
Yeah, it's kind of got the beginning blocks of that where it does have. I forget how it goes. I think it goes to Origins, maybe the one before, but it has Odyssey or Origins, Valhalla, all those in the menu, and you can cycle through and read the story of those older games, and then from there go into a launcher for them and download them for there, get the DLC or whatever. So you can access all of them from this, which is neat. Like it's kind of the Halo way they did when Master Chief Collection came out. Hey, here's Reach and all this other stuff being added in, but it's obviously a very early version of it. It's not a full app like they mentioned it was going to be, or however they're going to have that plan out. So
Yeah.
yeah, Assassin's
They
Creed.
probably want you to make an avatar that then you are child avatars entering their animus and then they go play shadows, right? Like if it could be interesting, but why?
You can buy your stuff in the store.
remember what the beginning like remember the core of the game, please.
Buy your cosmetic mount skins, Kyle. You could ride around on a dragon.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed needed cosmetics. That's what they needed that we had to buy with cash. Anyways, we could just now start rambling about our qualms with Ubisoft.
Ubisoft. We're gonna ramble instead to our main topic of this show.
Can I talk about Atomfall real quick?
Oh, have you been playing? Absolutely.
Gosh darn, I feel very similar. Really, I want to talk about this because I feel that very similar to how you feel about Shadows about Atomfall. But this game's hard. I put about an hour and a half in, and I just am lost. I don't know what to do. The setting looks cool. There's a lot of cool things. I have a weird audio bug as well. That's part of why I'm like, I'll wait until that gets figured out. Just I lose all audio in the game randomly. That's weird.
That's a known thing, though, isn't it? I thought I saw, was it
Yeah, I've
Jez
seen a
tweet about it?
lot online about other people, so that's why I'm waiting as well. That's part of the reason why I haven't put more time into it, but it was a reason why I haven't gone back to it. But yeah, I just think it dumps you in and says, go have fun. And I think if you're down to go explore and look and try to figure it out, this could be a fun little game. I think it will have a niche. It is a niche game, and I think it will find an audience, and it will maybe be a cult success for a little bit. But yeah, definitely like go in knowing you are going to get dropped in. There's a lot of different things to do and places to go, and you don't have to do anything. I just stumbled into the second zone, and then I got to a third zone. I was like, that's crazy. I have done nothing, and I'm like 3 zones deep already, right? And they're small, but I feel like there's a lot to explore and a lot to discover, but it does require you to kind of do that and be intentional and actually try to and be a little slow and steady, where I wasn't in that mood when I started this game. But very, very intrigued so far. It really dumps you in and says go. And it is stunning to look at. Not high quality, not like AAA, sure, but the vistas and like the art direction and style as a whole, I think works very well. So intrigued to keep going and trying this out, but so far difficult, and yeah, I haven't been grabbed by it yet.
What would you, because I remember this, what's it, the June showcase last year, I think they revealed this at, and
Yeah, I think
immediately
so.
everyone was like, oh, this is like a British Fallout. And they were very quick to be
Mm-hmm.
like, no, this is not a Fallout-esque game. And the more I've seen
It's
on
hard.
it, it looks more like a Stalker or like a Metro, I would compare it to almost. Is it more
Yeah,
that?
not having played those outside of 1 hour of Metro. Yeah, I agree. It's definitely more survival heavy. When you start the game, you have different difficulty options where you do easy, casual, where it's super easy, but then they have combat focus, where they'll make the combat harder, but exploration and something else easier. And then there's an option where you can make exploration harder, which I assume it just wouldn't guide you places, and make combat easier. And they have different names for that, like whatever they're called, right? And then they have one that's the base difficulty, and then the max one. So I found that interesting to really like. It told me exactly what the game kind of is in a way, where it's like, hey, you can craft how you want. This is going to be hard to explore. We're not going to tell you where to go. Combat's going to be hard. We're going to get that. Like that made the difficulty options made that clear to me. I'm like, oh, there's going to be some challenge to this if I leave this at the default setting here, and I do appreciate that. But yeah, I think I answered your question.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, Also, is this a game preview or is this like actual full release out now?
No, it's
Okay,
full release. Yeah, it had an early access period if you bought the deluxe thing, and it's fully out now. It's on Game Pass as well.
nice. Good. Glad it's finally out. Again, it was been pretty much almost a year since we got the reveal of this, and now finally out. The audio bug sucks. As soon as you said that, I was like, I feel like I read a couple things on Twitter about that, which obviously could ruin a game for most people that want to be super into things.
Yeah. Well, I was walking around, and all of a sudden, I walked out of the starting quote vault, and I was like, wait, I don't hear anything. Wild. And I was like, has it always been like this? And it took a while to figure out it was the game and not me. Yeah, kind of a bummer, but that's going to get fixed because so many people are. I've seen it pop up a lot online.
You would hope. It sucks that it's now when it is right before all the rest of the big games start coming out, because how many people are going to stick around hoping for that patch to hit, or however long it
True.
hits. That kind of sucks. But
Yeah.
cool. With that, now we move on to the big topic of the show. As mentioned at the top of the hour, Switch 2 reveal is in 3 short days away. Very, very close. I am getting those pre-June showcase jitters already. I'm all hyped up. I'm ready to go. Let's talk about it. As mentioned, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time of the show launch. We don't know how long this is even going to go. They did not give us a rough estimate like they usually do. So where do you think this showcase, not showcase, direct, whatever it is, how long do you think this is actually going to be on your end?
Oh, I would say easily 45 to an hour, right?
45 to, okay.
I think 45 minutes to an hour. Obviously, closer probably to 45. I think, but I think they got a lot to show. I think there is the mouse. I mean, let's just call it as it is, right? They gotta explain that and show that off, and they're gonna do that. There's the hardware stuff and how it's playing games differently, why it looks better, and I imagine they also will have uh games to talk about. The next Mario, is that just Mario Kart? Is it the thing, right? Will they go a little more into Metroid Prime 4? I don't think they need to, but I think they will be showing off games, right? And that is going to require some time there. And I don't think it's just a commercial, right? But it also could be a 5-minute trailer.
It could. And that's where
So, like, I think it's longer or really short.
I at this top when I started thinking about this, I've pretty much not avoided, but I'm behind on content that I watch, so I've not had time to watch Kind of Funny's final predictions or whoever's else is doing stuff.
Oh, yeah, I
But
didn't watch it so we can talk.
okay, perfect.
I didn't want them destroying my own original ideas with their backwater dump hole of a San Francisco alley ideas. Look, you said to be ready if you got called into work, and I said I'd call someone out. So that energy was still there. I guess I took it out on them randomly.
But yeah, thinking about it now, I'm at a weird crossroad where, like I mentioned, this is either gonna be, hey, this is an actual Nintendo Direct. Here's what we're doing. Here's games with it. But in a weird, messed up world, I could see them easily being like, hey, here's 12 to 15 minutes of the actual console itself. Come back in a month or in 2 weeks for the game direct type thing, which I hope is not the case. That sounds dumb. They announced this so far ahead of time that I don't think that's the case. In my perfect world, I would say I'm putting this at like an hour 15 to an hour and a half. I think they spend a long, at least 15, 20 minutes on the hardware, what they're doing differently with online stuff we'll get to later. The reasons that you would need to upgrade to a new hardware device, especially now with the way things are laying out financially for people. Like, I feel they're going to have to put a little more time into that. And then, hey, here is the whole first year and a half, 2 year salvo of games fired off. Maybe not all with the dates, maybe just some 2026, however it lays out, but I hope this would be the big nail in the coffin. This is everything we need to do to we can sit back till launch, whatever that is, and be fine with how this releases.
Yeah, I think you think that. See, I think it wouldn't be that big, but we both do agree that we think it's a little bigger. And I think, given what they did earlier in the year, they already showed off the console, right? They said, "Here it is. Here's some features. Like, wink, wink. It's a mouse. Like, it snaps in as opposed to slides in. Like, they showed us it, but they didn't get into the specifics, and that's what they have to do. So I think we're both on this. I think we're right in that it's longer. I don't think it is an hour and a half, though. I will say I think that is crazy almost. But
Xbox does it every June.
Yeah, but Xbox it's a little different. Now you're not okay. Well, shut up. Hold on. That's a good point. We have third-party stuff, but the release. What did they tell us for sure that it was first-party games first, then they have some other stuff, and then they have the third party later?
No,
was
so
that official?
That was a rumor from someone on Reset Era, I think, where they were. Okay. That wasn't even what they were announcing. It was more based off of how they're going to be releasing games this year, actually. Where at launch is going to be almost no third party; those come later, and then the second wave of first party in the holiday, which obviously is going to happen.
Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot of sense to me, and I think. And that's kind of what I thought. Okay. Yeah, no, I think still any third party stuff, I don't think we see anything in this because I think they would just wait till Xbox does their showcase where they say, hey, do you want to do the Call of Duty stuff in your stream, or can we just throw you in as part of this? And they're like, oh yeah, just throw it in. Or we'll do a 5-minute direct the day after, you know, like find more info specific, you know. I think they'll wait for that third party stuff for the typical June time. I do think this is just first party.
Um,
Unless they are partnering in a bigger way than we all think with other people. I don't know what that would look like, but who knows?
if you pull up the Switch 2 Direct announcement on Nintendo's site, literally all it says will air Wednesday, April 2nd at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard, offering a closer look at the Nintendo Switch 2.
Yeah.
That's it. No game, a direct, whatever. So it could go either way.
Well, yeah, but I mean, looking at a Nintendo Switch 2 game does give you a closer look at the Switch 2.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big umbrella. So, yeah.
So with that, you think on top of this Direct, do you think they're doing something in June as well? June showcase?
Not a showcase, but I don't think if it's this year that we are getting Switch Call of Duty, like they will be a part of Xbox in some way, or Xbox will be a part of them in some way, and that could totally be its own direct. Could totally justify Xbox doing another Call of Duty special direct at the end of their showcase, like they have done before. But that's Fable, baby. That's Fable. Fable's sitting in that spot. I'm giving you Xbox predictions now.
God, please.
But yeah.
So 45 to an hour on your end. The rumors going in, the leaks so far have ranged from May release to a June release. Could be July. A lot of that stemming from reports last year that this was pretty much pushed back a year to give the Switch another life and them to build up stock for releasing this, which lines up with an earlier in the year release compared to a traditional November launch, which is what they did with Switch 1, because that was March, I think, March or February it came out. So,
Yeah.
same ballpark. When do you have any ballpark for release on this?
I could see a quicker turnaround that they want. Again, like getting ahead, being aware, like, hey, this is gonna be a big seller, so let's get stock. If that's all real, I could see earlier, but it honestly wouldn't surprise me if it was midsummer, like July or August, just to like that they have a little bit of a build up here. I am gonna say it is post June. That's what I will say. I don't know when. I doubt it's like holiday. That's insane. But I do think it'll be post June. Watch it be like July 1st. It's like, hell yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's weird, right? Because this is all rumors are pointing to June. I've even seen some days specifically been brought up. But this is also Tuesday, the day before the showcase, is when the tariff game's really going to start hitting hard and actually go into effect, and if that has any sort of change on this, which just is the hugest wrench in any sort of plan trying to predict. I feel like
Yeah.
the June is still safe. I don't think at the latest would be September, but even that, like late August would be my latest, I think, because if you're doing the big reveal now, do you ride that out for 3 more months when you know it's going to sell out day one? Pre-orders are going to be wild with scalpers or not. And is it going to be, I guess it depends on how fast Nintendo's seeing people switching from Switch 1 to Switch 2. Or if that's even going to be necessary year one. Or are they going to lowball it in a way where, hey, this is out. You don't necessarily need it this year, though. These are the games you would be missing, but your other stuff, like, we're still catering to you on the first platform. We just got a direct for it this past week on Switch 1 games still, which based off of that, by all accounts, Metroid Prime 4 should be a Switch 1 game still. So it's weird, however, it's hard trying to decide what Nintendo's going to do in general, let alone with the console launch, because they don't care. They're going to make bank.
Yeah.
I'm sticking with the June, though, on my end. And I hope Tuesday's affairs don't just make them go back to the drawing board for the presentation the next day.
Yeah, well, the only problem with that is like that is just going to be on the consumer mostly. Like, so foreseeably, they just don't need a big stock in America. Like, so maybe yeah, this is out in May, baby. We're quick turnaround because we don't need a big stock. Because guess what? This is going to be $700, unfortunately, which is hard to predict for. I doubt that's what the case is. That's just being a little pessimistic about our current situation here. But okay, yeah, we'll see. I think we'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
With the release,
I ain't buying it either way this year. So
that's what my credit card's for. Uh, with the release, pricing. Do you see anything? Do you see this being 500 or higher?
oh no, this type of system cannot be plus 500. It is a family unit. They are. I think it is a locked in $400, $399. That's my thing there. I think that is not unavoidable, but yeah,
One
there.
SKU?
No, they'll have the multiple
No.
SKUs that get. No, they'll have just the base one, right? That you can just get, but then they will have a game bundle that'll get it to $549, right? Another controller possibly. There'll be bundles and such, but I think just the base Switch retail version, that's gotta be sub 500. If it is 500, whoa, we are all right. This is where we're at. Those next consoles are gonna be crazy. But yeah, that's my prediction.
Yeah, I'm also on the 400. If this is 5, that'll be. I will not be partaking. That is wild to me. Um, that's what I mostly want the presentation on Wednesday to be, because I am. You mentioned with your collecting dust or whatever, like mine has been that my Switch one for a majority of its time. Like I want more reasons to use it and pick it up outside of Mario Kart, what Pokemon. Like I want more reasons to invest in the platform, which could happen with how their deals are going. They're working hard on securing more IP. We just saw that this past week on that Switch showcase, getting 2 PlayStation IP brought over. So they are making moves in some way, shape, or form. As far as games shown during the direct, what are you feeling? What do you feel is gonna for sure locked in?
Mario, which isn't a answer.
Like 3D Mario, just Mario.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not an answer. We're getting a Mario. Mario Kart has to probably be a lock because they already have showed it off. It'd be the easiest. I mean, obviously, there's a through line right there. So if you're going to make me say a lock, it's a Mario Kart. I want a 3D Mario also shown, which would be the perfect. Here's Mario Kart, fade away, go to a different game like, I don't even know, Kirby. Go to a different game and then come back for a 3D Mario at the end. That'd be fun, but I don't think this thing ends without us seeing more about the Mario Kart.
Yeah, Mario Kart, I feel, is probably the one they'll start on because it is the first one we've already seen. 3D Mario, I would almost bet, is also a lock, just with the amount surrounding it and people continuously seeming to have information on it they don't want to talk about yet. Like, that's kind of the biggest unkept secret so far out of this, whether it is the Donkey Kong crossover thing, whatever that be, or if it's just Odyssey 2, we don't know. I feel that's a lock. Um Metroid Prime 4 is a weird one, because again, we just got it in the Switch 1. Is that going to be brought up again here in a weird way? Because they do have Switch 2, what's the term they're using? Switch 2 enhanced games or something from Switch 1.
Yeah.
That was in a press release. So that could maybe be here again, just a quick little snippet. I don't see it getting as big of a trailer as it did before.
For sure. No, there'll be a montage or a segment where they show off the performance of the Switch 2, and that's where we'll get a lot of games that are coming out very soon that they just showed off, or games like Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, stuff like that. Like they'll definitely be showing off those type of games. They got to, right? You got to. In part, they have to prove to us why the Switch 2 is necessary, other than like different manufacturer. Like it's just a different, bigger screen, right? Outside of that, like why else? And that's going to be a part of some of these games how they perform, but also like why I also agree a 3D Mario is possibly likely. You got to show off why the Switch is important. I think that 3D Mario probably has whatever the Switch mouse function is going to be. I would imagine that is part of the thing. I've seen, old paint games coming back, and like there's so many things. It's so easy if you have a mouse to think of games and mini games and situations where you could use that as a mouse instead of as a traditional Joy-Con with buttons, right? Like it writes itself. So I think 3D Mario makes sense because that really feels like the game you want to package in the the gimmick of this console. Not that it's like silly, right? But if they're adding more things beyond just take it and go, it's a Switch, right? You got to show that off, and I think Mario is a perfect avenue for that.
I just want to say that mouse feature so far is. I'm probably so far in left field on that compared to anyone else. That seems like the dumbest thing to me.
Have you taken a Joy-Con though and done it and flipped it on its side?
I haven't. No.
You like if you do it, it makes sense. As soon as you do it, I'm like, oh, I see. And they made the Joy-Con bigger as well. That's gonna even fit bigger. I totally understand what they're doing. Like, just grab your Joy-Con, slide it out, put it on the desk, use it, and you're like, all right, I see this. I see this. There's two buttons just like a mouse. And that's the current Switch. That's my OLED Switch. I wish I had it out here.
Does
But,
it make
yeah,
sense in a way that you could see it being used like meaningfully though? Because to me, even if they do, I could see it being thrown into like a Yoshi side game or something and then never used
Yeah.
again.
Well, I think that's a lot of things that have happened before, like it's up to the developers on what to do with it. But I think if you're, again, the Joy-Con's still a Joy-Con. They're adding this functionality to it. So to me, that's a little different. So if a game is 100% just it's Nintendo Switch Paint, and all I'm doing is using that to draw, like that makes sense, right? But then if they open it up to other games that are traditionally mouse and keyboard, like an Age of Empires, doesn't that start to make a little sense too? Wild to think about it, but I don't know. Like maybe Nintendo wants to get in on that. I don't think we'll see FPS games using mouse and keyboard on Switch. I don't think it's that, but I do think it will be up to the developers, and it's up to Nintendo to prove, hey, this is what you can do with it. Mario will be that avenue for people to get it. I don't think every single game will have that option. That seems like forcing every game to have a connect option, right? Like that just seems a little weird, but if this is something, I bet it works. I bet it has more than just a Mario fun little purpose, a Mario Kart thing, a paint thing, a way to use the menu, use a mouse now. Like it's beyond that. There's something there that they have, and I think they will be showing that off.
I hope. I hope they turn that around in a way that I'm like, hell yeah, I'm in. Give it to me. Do you think we see any Zelda? Just got Tears of the Kingdom last year before. Too soon?
It'll be old stuff. Like I think we'll see like Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, part of the up-res stuff. The most recent one, Echoes of Wisdom as well. Like if the Switch 2 is going to make things run better across the board outside of everything needing a patch, yeah, we'll get a lot of games just quickly shown off just to show like, hey, all these will run better to a degree. We don't need to show them off, they just will, right? Or they're gonna really it's gonna be like paid for. Only certain games get an up-res patch, and they will be Switch 1 games, and then you can download the Switch 2 version. Like it might be a hard line like that. I hope not. I hope the console just like I put in my Switch Violet or the Pokemon Violet and it just runs better. Like it's not framey, right?
Mhm.
You would hope so.
Smash Bros? Any chance in hell?
I don't think a new one.
Bring up Smash
Right.
for Wii U Smash. What is it? Smash Ultimate? Sorry.
If anything, they put all the Smashes on it.
That would be wild.
Just like, because what else do you do? We already have all the well, you know what? Here's every single Smash game, boom, on Nintendo Online. Pay us, and you get to have them all.
They're all here. By them, we mean the games, not the characters.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna throw in a guesses just because Nintendo likes to stick with stuff they like. I can almost see us getting an Arms 2 on this. Arms is a very Switch IP. Why not just throw a second one on there? It lets people use the Joy-Cons again.
And then you have them use them in a different way.
Use them in a different way. There you go.
Because that optical thing is a mouse. Like I can use my mouse on my hand. It reads it. I can use it on my shirt. It reads it, right? I can use it on almost any surface and it registers movement. So like that's the goal here, I think, with this. And I think something gimmicky like an arms game that has that uses that function in whatever way. Yeah, that could be cool.
Another one I have, which I'm curious on your thoughts on. 'Cause this is a wishful thinking for me, but I think there's a strong enough case to put it as almost a for sure C, whether it be just a small teaser. But Animal Crossing
In
coming off
5 years.
of not even 5 years. New Leaf, the 3DS one that came out before, was so solid and I think peak for that franchise. And then they dropped New Horizons on Switch, and that became a larger entity that I think they were initially planning for, and that's kind of why they didn't have enough new content after launch to keep it going. Like they weren't expecting that sort of gravitational pull to it with how the world was at that time. That I think they kicked it into high gear to like we need to bring this back in a new way and really land with people because I to me New Horizons dropped the ball in a lot of ways. And I could see them wanting to maybe fix that on their end. So I could see,
I
like I
think
said, be a tease 26 and a 2026 game, but I think we see a logo or something.
and you convinced me we see it. I think New Horizons is only lacking because people just wanted more out of it. Other than that, I think it exceeded and did exactly what it's want. I'm not deep into that community, so if you're like, no, that game is awful, how dare sorry. I'm just casual here. I loved it. But I think taking what they've learned out of that and seeing the success of it, like, oh my God, and people wanted to play together and like they had the opportunity to, so that really showed like what you could do. I mean, talk shows are were happening in there during the pandemic. Like, I think if anything, that Animal Crossing will probably go online, and you remember that leaked whatever Nintendo was testing, that MMO thing. I'd imagine that's what Animal Crossing is, where
Oh,
they have
yeah.
increased online functionality. You still get your own plot of land wherever and such, but I could see it being more multiplayer focused. And maybe it is Animal Crossing multiplayer. That's not what it'd be called, but maybe it is strictly a multiplayer MMO type thing. And that's what you're doing. And who knows what you do. But I think, would we see that this year? I don't know. Based off what you said, that's kind of my response there was I see that MMO thing being attached to it in 5 years. They drop it. Oh my God, we see what's going. Wow. We need to get work. 5 years is not that long. Or 5 long. Let's restart. 5 years is a long enough time where definitely could have something close, right? Or almost done. But I could see. I don't think Animal Crossing comes out in 2025. I think it would be a 2026 thing. I think they would wait.
Yeah. 'Cause, yeah, that's you put that in 2026 holiday game. 6 year development time, more than 6 years at that point. Like I think that's good.
And with fixed multiplayer and online functionality and all that, hopefully, yeah, you would start to see why it might take a little
Please.
longer. That's what
Another,
everyone wants, so I can't imagine Nintendo not addressing that.
they're so far behind it online though. It's baffling to me.
No, but man, they want Call of Duty, so they got to start talking to people. And Xbox and Microsoft is so willing to like help. They are so about collaboration. Come on, right there. And most companies are. That's not a thing. If you want to put some games on Switch, yeah, people would be willing to help you out. That makes sense.
Another one for the locks, I would say, because this is seemingly every time they have a new console or anything new. Fire Emblem. It's nothing I've ever been into, but there always seems to be a new one every time they have a direct in some way, shape, or
I
form.
guess.
Kirby. Any chance of Kirby?
We'll see Kirby.
Like a new Kirby, or like just he's included in a little hype trailer?
Most likely it'll hype trailer. I do think. Are you looking like over the lifespan of this or like launch window?
I'm
Announced
just what
like
they're
this
gonna
week.
have at the direct, what they're gonna have at the
Okay.
showcase.
Yeah, I don't think we see a Kirby game yet. Unless, yeah, no. I'm gonna say no. We can get into granulars and
Yeah.
not necessary. Obviously, it could happen.
Splatoon? Is Splatoon pretty much dead at this point, or is that still like people want more Splatoon still?
Oh my god, Splatoon, dude. You're controlling a turret on a crane, and you got to use the Joy-Con in the mouse mode and now move the crane all around and cover the whole field. Look, I just made a Splatoon thing. Yeah, you're going to see another Splatoon. I've never played one, but apparently people love it.
Say I played the first one for a little bit, and that was my extent. I'm gonna throw a Mario Party in here. I feel like that's a good early showing. As you said, mini game, different uses of it. Like that just fits to me.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't think so. They just had the Jamboree just come out.
Oh,
If anything, like that is a game that would get a Switch 2 upgrade, right? I think anything that came out in the last year or 2 years, depending on like if you're Zelda or not, will get Switch 2 upgrades. I just don't know how they're going to do that. It should just be free. It should just be a free upgrade. If someone's buying the console, they just get a free upgrade.
it should, by all accounts. With Nintendo, not pay another $50.
But a lot of companies just pay more money. Yeah.
Star Fox, any chance?
Again, you're holding the Joy-Con down and you're controlling the ship.
God damn it.
I like you. You look. You said you don't get it, so now I just am finding any reason to use this dumb Joy-Con as a mouse, and I'm finding many reasons. So it's like a mouse is a good thing to use in gaming. We should think about that.
It's like almost everyone has one that they use on Steam for reasons. Third party stuff. Do we get a lot here? Is it going to be mostly Nintendo focusing on their own stuff? Do you
Yeah, I think this is all
show
just
up?
Nintendo. I think this is all just Nintendo, unless they're doing like a Game Pass type thing. They're going to show off Call of Duty earlier than we all think, right? But no, I do think this is just first party. That's kind of where I'm thinking. I'd be surprised if we saw more, or if we saw any third party stuff tomorrow.
I'm going to put some on my list because I honestly think we do. I think this is, as I said, they want people to find reasons to invest in Switch, and they need to make a stronger case, I feel, with third party support. I think we get more Xbox stuff. What was the last two, like Master Chief Collection? I strong chance of being there, I feel. Hey, new console, we're working on online infrastructure. We're doing it with Halo in partnership with Xbox. How far that goes, I don't know. Because like you do the meme guesses like, ooh, Skyrim's gonna be on it type shit, but like,
Well, it is because it's already on there.
yeah, but Switch 2, we don't know that yet.
No, but it is because I could just put the card in. I could just.
You know what I'm talking about.
No, because at the end of the day, like this console is still just a Switch. It just will do extra things. We just don't know how much extra. If someone has to buy a whole new Skyrim, like that's dumb. But it will be for sale extra. I don't think we get. Hey, I disagree with what you're saying with the Xbox stuff, but I'll let you continue. I'll allow it.
That's fair. No, it's because it's how they said when like last year when they were, was it last year? I lost track of time. But when they were doing like the announcements for Sea of Thieves and Pentiment stuff, they were like, we want the teams to do that on their own time. We're not going to take away and like force it into one of our own things. I could see one of the teams being like, yeah, we want to be included in one of the most watched events this year for new hardware. Like I could see people that attracting enough.
Yeah, I guess it. Like, so now why would Nintendo want to have like Xbox be a part of this? Does that really help Nintendo?
Do
Having
they
Master
care?
Chief Collection, Master Chief.
Do they care? If PlayStation and Nintendo are duking it out, Xbox doesn't see them as competition. Do they see Xbox as competition at this point? Like,
Oh, I'm just saying, like in this realm though, like saying during the Switch 2 reveal, you also revealing some Xbox games coming. I feel they would be more like, this is all us, where this is our console, this is a thing, and we're gonna have some third-party games such as blank 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 direct in 3 weeks. You'll see more.
I can see that too. They had like a third party direct later on.
But again, with you thinking this is an hour 15 to an hour 30, talking about more third-party stuff does make more sense. But if we're closer to 45 to an hour, those are what gets dropped for me. So yeah, that's kind of where it's at.
Yeah. I've been trying to think too if there's been any. I mean, there's a lot obviously, but like major games that we know about that are like had trailers, but they haven't done a release date yet. Like if those would maybe be tied because of this, like they don't want to do the release date because their launch date is on Switch 2 day type thing. Which like the biggest meme when I think of like, is this it? Is this the moment that we get a Hollow Knight release date and it's a Switch 2 launch game? Like that would be wild.
Honestly, that is almost a must, like 100%. That is almost a for sure. That is a 99% for sure. And then that 1% is so expected, to not show up.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, that makes way more sense. That's different than Xbox or PlayStation showing up. In my opinion, yeah.
Okay. Do you got anything else on the game front of what you're expecting to see?
No,
For
not for the direct. Like I think I've made it clear what I think.
okay. Hardware stuff. Do you think we're getting any like major improvements for online, as I just mentioned? Are they going to work on that at all? Because we're just now figuring out how digital game downloads and sharing work in 2025.
No, they have to. They have Call of Duty coming. And like if that doesn't happen, there's going to be some weird court stuff that comes up. You know, like it has to happen to some degree at some point. I know I got to read up on it again to see where we're at in that timeline of things, but yeah, they have to talk about online. They have to show how it's how it's just better, and I think that'll be a solid chunk of this because they would have been doing a lot of that on the background. The console is another Switch, just bigger, and that's different Joy-Con and a bigger Joy-Con, right? So what else is going on with this? And I do think it's a reworking of their online infrastructure to start getting ready for that. It'll be interesting if that is only on the Switch too. Will the Switch be the only console that can handle that stuff? That'll be very interesting. Or will the Switch just retroactively be able to take benefit of some of these console things? Is it an app only? Am I going to have to download a Nintendo app for all the voice chat? That's already better than what they have, I think.
I would almost think it would have to be a Switch 2 exclusive thing. Because I feel
That's what I'm
for
thinking.
the general majority of people that would be on the fence, like, hey, we're taking the online stuff seriously and we want you in our ecosystem besides our console, like that would be enough people to invest more. Just having stable online, having here's your account that you have a friends list on without friend codes. Get rid of the friend codes. If you have friend codes, I'm gonna riot. Have an actual friends list on and be able to do party chats and stuff. I feel like that has to be. They've had this long not having it. Like it's time to get up to the times, Nintendo.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that will honestly probably just be quality of life stuff. You know, it'll just make it easier, but it probably will still have issues and some weird like, that could just work like this, but you're not letting it. A thing is too, it is a family console. The kids, this is like it is for kids. We have to be aware of that and know that. So when you start getting into a console that is also going to be for kids in a lot of ways, do you want them to be able to just quickly and easily be able to talk with people they don't know? Obviously, that's parental controls and such, but I do think Nintendo as a company pays attention to that stuff. So I think any online stuff is going to make sense. It's going to be exactly what it needs to be for the game and games, and that's it. Like it's not going to be probably a robust thing, and they're going to say no. That's what apps like Discord are for. Like, and when you get older, we're Nintendo.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Because even to them, yeah, like
Yeah, because you don't have a kid.
well, wow. No, but I don't even think to them like having because I was gonna say like, oh, just have a child account, like a setting, and then you can like parents can change or whatever. But I don't even think for them that would be enough to like cover their ass on things. So yeah, it is a weird. It's a weird realm when you brought up too Call of Duty. Like, how does that fit into that too? If that's a moderated thing.
Dude, let me tell you, I've been playing. It's double XP weekend and the battle pass is about to go, so I'm just trying to like get as far as I can. I got enough for whenever I decide to buy the next one. Anyways, but the names, the sounds, the words being said, oof, crazy, crazy.
Are you saying it's like the good old days back on 360?
Yeah, especially for this double XP weekend before the season ends. Yeah, it is full of people. I'm just like, oh, I forgot to turn that off. Let me mute that. Those are words. It's funny, but it is interesting for a Switch. Like, right? I don't know, right? Like, it's fascinating because like Warzone's free, so that's going to be free on Switch. So there you go. It's free to jump into Call of Duty. So there is going to be some parental stuff that has to be figured out in Nintendo, and they might be a little more strong armed. So, man, these online services might be lacking in what we are thinking for reasons that like kind of just go over everyone's head because we're adults.
Last thing I got on my end, unless you got other things you want to add in predictions on, the mysterious C button on the left controller that we have not had anything on. Do you got anything on what that's going to be?
It's for cognac. You press it and someone brings you a glass of cognac.
You just said this was a child family friendly console, guy.
You shut up. That one is for the parents. The right Joy-Con is for the parents. I think people. It was rumored it's the cat, or that's not rumored. I forget who
Predicted.
says that. Like, predicted. It's a cast button, so you press it and it'll cast to the dock. That's crazy if that's how it works. It's basically AirPlay. I don't think the dock is that. I can see it being what I saw community a button, hey, guess what? It's not a C word. It's just the C button because it changes. And for this game, it's this. For this game, it does this. For this function, it does this. In the store, it does this. It's the C button because it changes. Function still stays a square.
Yeah. I don't like it, but that sounds right.
Right. I stumbled into that, right? That's pretty good.
I don't like it, but that sounds like it could be a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It does. It really...
I've seen the casting thing you mentioned. I saw someone say it's a way to somehow connect to like the Switch 1 as well, like use the Switch 1 as like an extra screen or something, connect it that way, which sounds wild.
Oh my God, it makes the Switch 2 just a Wii U?
Yeah.
And that's why it's Switch 2, because you could use two Switches.
Use two Switches. You have it docked on your TV and then you use the original Switch 1 gamepad or whatever. Like, I was like, that's big brain thinking. I don't think so, but that's
I don't know why you would do that though. I can't understand what the benefit of.
No one could understand the benefit on the Wii U either. That's why it failed.
It's true. Yeah. Yeah. Someone gave me a Wii U and I instantly gave it away. I just left it. I was like, nah, this console sucks ass. There's a reason you're giving it to me.
I have one. I lost my gamepad when I moved to Michigan and back, and it's impossible to find just the gamepad. My God.
It's gone. Yeah, that sucks.
Okay. With that, we'll see which of this happens, comes true, where we fall on the line of things after the dust clears on Wednesday, bright and early. As I said, I will be streaming live reactions right here on Twitch on my end. Hopefully, pleasantly pleased after an hour and a half long show.
Yeah. You know, part of me wants to say I'll join you. Get up early. Get up before the baby gets up.
Do it.
Stumble in here. And then I accidentally wake my daughter up and I'm like, ah, shit, nope, I'm out. And
Just
I'm up at 6
have
for
her on
no
the
reason.
side down below.
Just like, shh, quiet.
Switch time. Yeah, like I said,
we're looking at your first console.
Yeah. No, Hannah goes to work at 5 or gets up at 5. So I'm like, just wake me up then. I can crawl out of bed, go get some donuts.
Nice. She's like, I don't want to wake you. No, today,
Please.
loud, lights on, wake me up.
Throw the cats on me.
That's fun. Yeah, it'll be fun to see. I bet everyone will be completely normal and okay without this, and the pre-order is going to go so smooth for Nintendo. It's going to be a great time.
Oh, speaking of pre-order, do you think pre-order goes live on Wednesday? I've seen some people saying a week later.
Didn't Best Buy put something out that's later? I'd imagine it's later, because as soon as you say that, people dump, and then it's just not going to be a good look.
Yeah.
it's at this time, 2 weeks from now, like Apple does it, like Xbox has done it as well.
Yeah,
Gotta have a run up.
I was on that's gonna be Dale, but I think they're gonna be, hey, retailers and stuff, get ready. This is the day, set
I
times, or
could,
even just like tiered times for retailer. I can see too, just kind of lower the blow of it.
yeah, I could also see them trying real hard to fight against scalpers. I could see Nintendo
Please
trying and doing some weird system of like, if you want one of the first wave, go on to Nintendo's site, get this thing, have an account, do this, and then you will be in a wait list. Like, I could see them really making sure that scalpers aren't just picking this up. And you know what? It is what it is. Please
it.
do that.
Yeah,
Fuck scalpers.
I think the Series X was the only console I've had to do pre-orders online for, and I had such anxiety about it. Which, like, being an Xbox primary household, like, that was we had to get that. Switch 2, though,
Yeah.
I'm like, Switch 1, I just did midnight launch. I was up at Walmart for 5 hours for Switch 1. I was first person in my little town to get one. And I bought it, and as I walked away from the desk aisle, I dropped that fucking thing on the ground so hard in front of everybody, and I ran out the store. So now doing, like, pre-orders for it, I'm scared.
I can't wait till you get your Switch 2 and you're like out the window all excited. You're like, there he is. He has my package. And he trips, drops it. And you're just like, it happened again. My Switch is on the ground again. Oh, that is an amazing story.
It was terrible. I think about it often. I'm like, people were judging me, but you know what? I got my Switch.
They're like, are you kidding? I like, oh my God, that kid. That guy, what are you doing?
God.
That's amazing.
With that,
Yeah.
this has been
The
episode
world
62.
will be different next week.
It will be episode 62 of the Download Queue. Thank you so much for joining us. You can find Kyle at Kyle Ledoux, all the socials, Blue Sky, Twitch, not X. We talked about that last week. Stick with the cool ones. Badlands Backlogs for me. Again, catch maybe both of us now Wednesday morning. Early stream, switch to I can't wait. We'll be back same time next week, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here for another exciting episode, catching up on all the news and talking about previews because we should have South Midnight previews up by then, and Doom previews I think are also dropping tomorrow. So I have a lot to catch up on next week. Stay tuned. Thanks for stopping by. Happy gaming.
Waiting for my email Xbox.
Get on it.